Now, foldables have always one big problem: compromise. Too thick, bad software, or even an ugly crease. But this Oppo Find N5 is so thin, they had to redesign the USB-C port just to fit in. And it talks directly to your Mac too. So is this the foldable that finally gets it right? So currently, this is the thinnest book style foldable in the world at just 8.93 mm when closed. Now that is almost 30% thinner than Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 6, and when fully open, it is thinner than a typical USB-C port. To a point where they needed to redesign the USB-C port, and yes, the thinness is also very comparable to a headphones jack. And because of how lightweight this is, it feels amazing in the hands whether or not it's unfolded or even when it's folded. Now, one interesting fun fact is that this entire phone folded is just 2 grams more than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, as this is only at 229 grams. Now, it comes in two colors: the Cosmic Black, which has a matte finish, and then this one that I have is the Misty White. Once again, since the Oppo Find X8 Pro, this is a very nice white finish done right. There's an official rating of IPX6, IPX8 and IPX9 as well, which is capable of handling everyday splashes and even a high pressure water jet. So yes, bring this to your next water gun fight and use it as a shield. It also uses the titanium flexion hinge, a 3D printed grade 5 titanium alloy, which makes it 26% more rigid while being 26% smaller, where it has seamless movement with no looseness when partially even folded. There's even a TUV Rainland folding certification for this too. And with that, Oppo claims that this new foldable aims for a 9-year usability span, with testing involved based on extreme conditions. Now, one thing that Oppo has always done better than any other foldable is minimizing the crease. Now the crease here is now 50% shallower and 10% narrower than before, so you can barely even see it. Now this outer display is a 6.62 AMOLED screen that has a 20:9 aspect ratio, a 1:120Hz refresh rate LTPO display that has 2400 nits of peak brightness, which is one of the brightest outer screen foldables out there. But the inner display is a massive 8.12 inches AMOLED display, which is the largest book-style foldable display ever. It is also the sharpest inner display foldable yet. At 412 ppi with 2100 nits of peak brightness, then the anti-reflective film gave an overall better visibility right here in the studio, or even especially during outdoor as well. Now, based on my first impressions, if you love watching content, this beats any foldable in size, clarity and brightness. It also has Dolby Vision HDR, but my only gripe is the speakers, because the two speakers does sound very thin as a device. So that is the trade-off of being so thin. But Oppo is going all out with the Hasselblad master camera system. There is a 50 megapixel main camera, which is a 21mm f1.89 with OIS. There's also an 8 megapixel ultra-wide 15mm f2.2 aperture lens, a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto lens, which has a 70mm focal length with an aperture value of f2.7, which is a 30 times AI telescope zoom. Then the selfie camera is an 8 megapixel f2.4 lens. So I did some test shots, and as expected, it turned out to be really great. But the real star here is the AI powered periscope zoom, because the 30 times AI telescope zoom actually retains details that most foldables don't even try. Now there's also the tele macro capability that allows focus as close as 10 centimeters for detailed macro shots. But to be honest, when it comes to macro shots, I still think that Vivo takes the cake over here. Now, Hasselblad's portrait photo on Oppo phones were always great, especially on the skin tones as seen over here. The Hasselblad photography vibes were really nice, especially with the Hasselblad tune tones as well. Now, this is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite, the latest and greatest from Snapdragon, with 16GB of LPDDR5X RAM and 512GB of UFS 4.0 storage. Now, Oppo also has added the AI Link Boost 2.0 that reduces gaming latency while improving speed, which was great because based on my gaming test on Genshin Impact, it performed very well in this setting shown on the screen. And because of how thin, I almost forget that this is a foldable, whether or not I'm playing it like this, or even when I open it up like this as well. Now, there are a lot of similar AI features which was on the flagship Find X8 series, like the AI Eraser, the AI Remove Reflections, which works flawlessly just like before. Then just like the Samsung Galaxy S25 series, the power button's native assistant is Google Gemini. Even the Google Circle to search is also here as well. But among all, the most surprising thing that Oppo pulled off is that the O Plus Connect app that used to transfer files between iPhone and the Oppo Find X8 Pro has now been upgraded to connect to your Mac. Based on my hands-on test, you can mirror your Mac screen on the phone, drag and drop files super quickly, but the coolest thing is the fact that you can even fold the phone in a flex mode like this and then use the bottom screen as your trackpad. Something that I would never say for a non-Apple device. So really good job, Oppo. And since I'm a Mac user for 22 years, this is such an amazing feature, something that I really appreciated. But there is another thing that I really would appreciate too, which is a like to this video. And a subscription would be lovely too. Thank you very much in advance as we are on the way towards 200,000 subscribers in this channel. I don't know why I still have problems saying subscription. Subscribe to the channel. Okay. Moving forward. Now, another thing that was interesting is that Oppo managed to fit in a massive 5600 milliamps of battery in this, which is the second generation silicon carbon battery. It has an 80 watt SuperVOOC wired charging where it can go up to 100% charge in just about 47 minutes. But even better, there's even 50 watts of AirVOOC wireless charging too, the fastest wireless charging on any foldables out right now. But that's not all, because this also has magnetic wireless charging, which I feel that every foldable, or actually every smartphone in year 2025 should have right now. So while the Oppo Find N5 does seem to be the best foldable right now, checking all of the boxes to be one, the only thing might stop it to be one is the software experience. But with ColorOS 15, Oppo is really doing some serious work to make it user-friendly, especially for people who are more familiar with iOS and the fact that now with even Mac users too. But the real question is that, are you willing to switch?